Today's guest is Julie Kelly. She is from hercareeradvice.com. Our topic is Winning Wednesday, and she's going to give us some strategies as far as creating winning relationships that really work to our advantage in building our career and taking us towards that next step. So I'm thrilled to welcome on Julie Kelly. Julie, thank you so much for being on the show with me today.
Hi, Jen. Thanks for having me. I'm really excited.
And Julie, you've actually been on YFE Chat in the past and given us some actual career building pieces. So I'll definitely link to that in the meantime. But since then, you've been doing some incredible things. So why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and then we'll get into what you're actually launching in 2014.
Sure. So I actually am a biologist by qualification, and I've worked as a biologist for a long, long time now. And in 2011, I decided to sort of shift gears, and because I had such a fantastic professional life and a great career, but it just wasn't really going anywhere. I sort of reached the top of my pinnacle, if you like. And so I was like, what am I going to do now? And so I actually created Her Career Advice because of the position that I was in professionally. I always had colleagues coming up to me saying, Julie, how did you know how to do that? Julie, how did you know how to say that? How did you know? How did you know? How did you know? And so that basically sparked this little light bulb went off in my head, and I thought there's clearly a void here for women because they see me and they don't know how to get to that point, because I was very fortunate to have a lot of success as a younger woman in a very male-dominated field. And so I've now basically shifted gears and spend my time coaching and consulting young women and even teenagers in how to create a very successful, lucrative professional career for themselves, hence the Her Career Advice.
Well, and in 2014, now that you're moving that a step forward, so what are you doing next year?
So next year I'm actually launching a brand new program because all the work I've been doing is one-on-one, or me doing professional training workshops, and I can't clone myself. So in order to be able to reach more people with what I learned myself and what I teach, I'm actually rolling out a new program which is going to be a video training module program over 6 weeks, and it's going to cover 5 different areas of self-care, career, health, relationships, and what's the last one I'm thinking of? Personal finances. So it'll be a 6-week training module where you'll get exercises and done-for-you templates and cheat sheets, and there'll be exercises to do, and then you'll have actual access to me once a week in a live call, which is part of what we're going to talk about later today as well. So I'm really excited to be able to roll that out, and the point of that program is to actually make women more self-reliant in all those 5 areas of their lives, because I truly believe if you're self-reliant in all those important areas, your life just becomes so much more abundant and you can really live all out, which is what I want everybody to be able to do. So that'll be rolling out in January of 2014.
Well, congratulations on that, Julie. That's a big step moving forward. And I think a lot of young female entrepreneurs have that same aha moment where they're saying, I've been doing all of these speeches, I've been keynoting, I've been helping people one-on-one. How can I expand this and help more people? And so that's a common thread. And I think that's always a fantastic and scary move to go into that next space where you're serving more at the same time. So, Julie, really fast, I want to welcome a couple of people that are on the chat. And actually, 2 of the women here I wanted to mention as winning for Winning Wednesday at the Local Mom blog. If you guys haven't checked her out yet, I think it's localmomblog.com, and Megan, you'll have to correct me if I'm wrong. She just launched this huge network, and she's accepting applications for mom bloggers, people that she's basically teaching you what it is that she's been able to do successfully over the years. And I've known Megan for a few years, and it's incredible. She has 2 kids, now 3 kids at home, and what she did was use blogging as a way to supplement her income while she is able to stay at home. And so she's helping others do that through Local Mom Blog. I thought it was really creative in creating a blog network. And then the second person is at the Stacey Harris, who I think is winning every day, honestly. It always surprises me how many people know and love Stacey and really connect with her. And there's something about her that is lovable. And she's doing a podcast that you can now find on youngfemaleentrepreneurs.com every Tuesday and Thursday. And definitely check that out because she always provides great advice and really good resources for women. So apart from the females in our community that are winning, so definitely, check out out at the Stacey Harris, follow her, and at the Local Mom blog. Another one that is, is a winning force to be reckoned with within being a young female entrepreneur herself is Marissa Mayer. Now, she presented at the Salesforce.com Streamforce conference last night. And it was a big deal because Walmart employees or people connected with Walmart ended up basically coming in and stealing the show, protesting. But the problem was all of these tech reporters, if you Google it, you'll not really find out from any of them what exactly happened. This is the best article that I could find on what actually happened, because it sounds like they were at the back of the room. There was some fumbling, and they heard like protest or whatever, and then fumble, and then that that was it. And so people commented, or the Marissa Mayer and the CEO of Salesforce were commenting and kind of joking around on stage about it, trying to transition out of it. So I just wanted to get your opinion on it, Julie. So I didn't know Marissa Mayer is on the board of directors of Walmart. Why do you think why would she be in that position when she's the CEO of Yahoo, and she's kind of this force to be reckoned with as far as women go? We put her on a pedestal almost.
I think she's making a really smart move. I mean, it's hard enough for women to be recognized, period, let alone, land those lucrative positions. So she's obviously got her fingers in many, many different pies, which I think is great, because nothing lasts forever, as we know, especially jobs these days. So even though she may be in another position as CEO of Yahoo, it doesn't necessarily mean that she can't be potentially making relationships elsewhere, and maybe she's thinking of it transitioning in a couple of years' time. So I think it's a really smart move.
Well, and I thought it was funny, too, just apart from that comment as far as what Marissa Mayer is doing with Walmart, is that the comment that everyone's making, that the CEO came back and was like, he gave tips on how to protest successfully at a conference, because I guess this is a way that he's built Salesforce at the very beginning. He'd show up at conferences and do kind of guerrilla marketing where it was disruptive. And he said, tip number 1, stay outside. And tip number 2, have a few different groups, whereas apparently these protesters were in a big clump, safety in numbers. And he said, that way, if the first group gets arrested, then you still got a couple more that can come out. So great tip for all of us to take away from this news headline. If you're going to protest at a conference, make sure that you get, your buddies split up. So on that note, before we get into Julie's winning strategies for creating really successful relationships, we want to talk about 5 ways to transform your team into rock stars. This is an article that came out in Fast Company, and I believe a lot of you read Fast Company, at least I do. And I try and keep up on, they do a lot of these tips for success type articles. And this one talks about some of the things that I'm sure Julie's going to mention, but this is going for how do we make it so that our team is successful as far as making them, working on self-development. And it's funny because my husband works for a large corporation, and they have to do self-development every once in a while, and it's a big joke. They're just like, this is a waste in my time. And so what they do is in this article, they talk about how to make sure that you create a culture of self-development, essentially. So if the team isn't going to learn well by you, teaching them, or that, you sit in and it's a lecture type of a program, that you actually work it in by, one of the examples was to have them practice, doing something every day, you get better. And then another one was in creating a culture of feedback, so welcoming. And I've heard this from a number of entrepreneurs, where the idea is that you can go in and ask your employees, how are we doing on this? How do you feel as far as this goes? And so I definitely checked this article out because I thought it had a lot of advice for people who have a team, whether you have, a virtual assistant or whatever it is. So our last point that I wanted to bring Julie in on was this other article, and you guys all have to follow this guy. His name is Drake Bear. He's one of my favorite writers, and he works for Fast Company, and he has some great tips on communication, email, getting organized. But this particular article is about the most epic I quit email ever. So we all love a good quit story. Everyone does, because as young female entrepreneurs, most of us have been there, where you're just getting sick of your job and you go into something for yourself. So this young woman emailed people. And this is from Gawker, and he's saying that, our takeaway is that emails are not as cute as videos. But anyway, she talks about auditing being a load of BS. and she uses a lot of hashtags, and she's sick of this partner relationship meetings. So Julie, I thought this is definitely something that you can add your input on because I know you do a number of counseling as far as young women goes in their roles. My question to you specifically is about the sponsorship idea. Do you think it's effective? Do you think mentorship is a forced, weird way, especially in corporations? How can we make this better so it's not something, what's the hashtag? Fake convos for fake auditors. Way too intimidate for my taste. I mean, how can we improve this mentorship relationship?
Look, I love this woman's spirit. I think that's a great way to voice who you are and what you believe in. Do I condone that? Yeah, maybe not so much, but, each to their own. This is a really interesting topic, and I've actually done a lot of research on it myself. I've also managed subordinates in my own experience, and it's really one of the hardest jobs. Truly it is, to manage other people, because you've got different cultures, different personalities, different management styles, and you just get, you can't necessarily always pick the people that you get to work with or that work for you. And so one of the things that I think is really important is to develop yourself. And if you can develop yourself into becoming more emotionally intelligent, which is sort of like a buzzword in leadership, and if you have like a high EQ as opposed to a high IQ, you can actually empower other people without actually mentoring or doing all these like very stuffy type of things like the annual progress report, which I used to hate when I was in that corporate world. So things like that, I think, are more effective when you know how to manage people better and you know how to bring out the best in people and empower them to do what they do best. Then it actually becomes like this cohesive work environment where you don't have to force people to do anything or sort of, rule with an iron fist, because if you're empowering people and you know how to get in touch with them on an emotional level, then they automatically want to step up and be the best version of themselves. And also it's been proven that loyalty to an actual employer improves with a leader who's actually more emotionally intelligent than one that's not. So I think it really comes back to looking at the person in the mirror and how can you help develop that person without the the things like we're talking about the annual progress report and things like that, which are kind of stuffy and I think somewhat outdated because you do them once a year, right? And it's like, well, what happens the other 364 days of the year?
Exactly. Well, and one of the last points I wanted to make about this article was that she makes out for all auditors, if you're doing auditing, you're an idiot, basically. Like, it's the worst job on earth. Why would anyone want to do it? You're a fake person if you want to stay in it. And I wanted to point out that I think something that sets us apart, entrepreneurs, and this is generalizing, all of us, so I could be totally wrong in this, but we want, I think, at least for myself, I should just say myself, I want to be fulfilled in my 8 hours of work, which actually, as an entrepreneur is more like, 16 to 22 or whatever, and if you're on a crunch date. But I want to be fulfilled in those hours, and it's important to me that my work life is at the end of it, I can look back and be like, that was important. Whereas other people, people that we just don't always understand, they take work as a means to actually, live life, so that, you're getting paid. This is something my husband really looks at work like, and I always admire this, that he does it so that he can go dirt biking on the weekends or go skateboarding. He works there and he finds ways to enjoy it. So I just think it's, to each his own as far as that goes. But let's talk about, this woman was burning a bridge. For sure. I mean, hashtags, Beyonce, everything. So let's talk about the opposite. How do we build bridges that are effective and can withstand time, that are strategic, Julie?
Sure. So I wanted to focus on, really quickly, because I know we're almost out of time, but two main areas that I think are overlooked. One is the actual phone call, which again I think is becoming a thing of the past. And the other one I want to really quickly touch on is social media in the form of LinkedIn, which I think is also overlooked. So I was actually able to connect over the phone, live, in person, with somebody that I admire and that I've looked up to in my business for a long time. And his name is James Roche, and he's the lead. He's the lead Elevate coach with Ali Brown, which I'm sure most of us love and know Ali. And so I was actually able to get on the phone with him for an hour, and I don't know what his daily or his hourly rate is, but I was on the phone with him for an hour and I was able to pick his brain, and he was able to give me some really cool insights into my business and where I want to go and how to do that. And I think you could not do that over an email or through social media on Facebook or Twitter or anything like that. You just can't do that. So I think if there's somebody that you admire or somebody that you think can help you get to the next level in your career, get on the phone. Somehow find a way to get on the phone with these people and actually talk to them. And then you obviously, it has to be a two-way street. You can't just be like sucking their brain the whole time, but think of ways of how you could potentially offer something back to them. That's the first thing. And the second thing is LinkedIn, which is an area that I sort of put on the back burner, but I'm actually starting to, but I'm actually starting to get into it now. And I found that it's a really cool place to hang out because it sort of takes away all of the noise, and it's really quite niched and very professional, obviously professionally based. And so a lot of the time you could find high-paying clients or even people in power positions of power in organizations that you want to get connected with on LinkedIn. And it's a really cool mechanism to actually connect with people and people that you actually want to be connected with. And obviously because you've got a profile on there, they can see who you are, you can see who they are, and then you can get connected, and then you can actually obviously go into the groups and connect with people via groups and comment in groups. And
groups are actually really effective on LinkedIn versus Facebook groups. I'm very irritated with them because with Bootstrap Book Club, for example, we're starting to read a new book, and I have no idea who some of these people are, what they do, because I just see like them and with their kid and their name, and they don't tell me anything else in their profile. Whereas LinkedIn, I've joined a couple industry groups, and it's incredible the opportunities that you can find just within those groups because you actually know what those people do and why they're there.
Exactly. And I think it's a really underutilized tool, and one that a lot of people probably don't understand. But the one thing I just want to give a point about LinkedIn, there is a subtitle under your name. Now, a lot of these people, and I was one of these people, I would put like CEO and founder of Her Career Advice. Bad. So you should actually, that's like keyword searchable by Google. So you should actually in that subtitle put really specific keywords of what you do and what you offer in that, so you can actually be Googleable through LinkedIn, which is really cool. I did not know that. So just a little tip to change your subtitle to really specific keywords.
I love the actionable tips. That's something I'm going to go in and make sure I have right, because I went through my LinkedIn profile not that long ago and really tried to update it and make sure it was optimized, but that's something we should all do. So Julie, where can everyone find you after this? Because I know you've got your big launch coming up in 2014, so I want to make sure people connect with you before then.
Sure. So my website is hercareeradvice.com. I'm on Facebook and Twitter, LinkedIn. And if you want to have any more information about the course or get on the wait list, it's going to be a very small group of probably no more than 10 people because I want everyone to be treated like a VIP, not a number. You can email me at julie@hercareeradvice.com.
Very nice. Well, Julie, thank you so much for being on the show this morning. It's a new show, so I know everyone that's booked as my co-host is taking a gamble, so I always appreciate you taking the time to share your advice and your insights with us.
My pleasure, Jen. Thanks again for having me.
All right, so everyone, you've been watching the daily live webcast here on YFElive.com. My name's Jennifer Donogh. You can tweet with me at Jennifer Donogh on Twitter. I've been having so much fun doing these. It's every Monday through Friday at 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern here on YFElive.com. Please check us out on iTunes by Googling or searching Young Female Entrepreneurs iTunes, and you'll find Jenn Cast, YFE Chat Live, and YFE Vegas Tech. Make sure that you leave us a review and comment. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you tomorrow at 10 p.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern. A.M., not 10 p.m. All right, thank you, everyone.